Hello, everyone. Welcome to Stocker Team. Welcome to Stocker Team, the Investors Channel. Today, I'll be talking about a very, very much anticipated initial public offering IPO, which is the Monzo IPO. So, Monzo, the second biggest digital bank in the UK after Revolut, has actually announced that hopefully by the first maybe first half of next year 2025 they will be listing on the London Stock Exchange, and they have actually tipped the likes of Morgan Stanley and a few other investment banks to actually advise them on going public. It is very, very much likely that this will be a fully listed company on the London Stock Exchange, and there might not actually be a dual listing on Wall Street. So, what exactly are we looking at? Monzo is likely to actually go on IPO, becoming a public company next year. And this episode, I will be explaining exactly what you should look out for before you buy, sell, or even short this stock. Actually, before you actually invest in Monzo's IPO. So come with me. Before I go, every information shared on this channel is for information and education purpose only. Do your due diligence or consult your financial advisor before making any decision. Please give this video a like. Also, subscribe to our channel. Put on the notification bell so that you don't miss any updates. You can also join us on all the social handles that you can actually see in front of you. I'll jump right in now. So to really understand what to expect in exactly, especially when you want to actually decide whether you will buy this IPO or invest in this company after it has been listed, we really need to understand what is the state of the business, especially from everything that it does. Being a digital bank, no public facing building or structure, but Monzo hasn't done very, very badly. As a matter of fact, 2024 last year, full year, Monzo actually reported the first ever profit for the bank, about 15.4 million pounds for full year 2024. And they also said they added about 2.3 million customers for that financial year, and the total deposit actually rose by about 88 percent. Deposit from customers who are actually transferring funds into the bank account. But from a revenue point of view, Monzo still also they look very, very promising and very, very strong, especially when you look at the growth in the revenue, which is also underpinning the fact that their customer base might be growing. And more importantly, a whole lot of these customers might now start using Monzo perhaps as their primary bank account, or secondary bank account, which actually gives it more revenue down the line. So if you look at the growth in revenue in 2022, Monzo only reported about 154 million pounds, but in 2023 it grew to 355 million pounds, and by last year it actually ballooned to about 880 million pounds, which is quite impressive. But is this to say that Monzo is all about positivity, or Monzo has what it takes to actually be a very, very strong stock, or stock to actually invest in as an investor? There's still much to actually look at and unpack. So if you look at the business model of Monzo, this business really doesn't necessarily make so much revenue from different sources like mortgages, insurance, and all of that. Monzo's primary business is more or less making revenue from interchange fees, debit card transactions, and all that. And Monzo has started, making money from also when people actually take overdraft, and Monzo also has its own credit cards operation. So, but the real part of the business, over 50% of the business revenue, is still from the interchange fees, and deposit from from customers has really, really grown to about 11.2 billion pounds, which is quite impressive. However, because this business was a startup, they still raised some funds last year, about 500 million pounds, and that was the last funding round, which also to me, it's not necessarily a concern. It's also a point that, if the business is still, if the bank or the business is still raising funds from new or old investors, does that mean the cash flow and also the company doesn't necessarily have enough funds to actually grow into the next phase, which is what I'm going to be looking at. So you as an investor, what should you actually look out for before you actually buy this IPO? I'm going to be talking about the valuation, a whole lot of the pricing that goes into a stock before it's actually listed, and that actually makes more sense. And you should actually pay more attention to this, because if you look at what the likes of Wise has done in the market, not so impressive, but not so bad. What does Monzo has to offer to investors when they actually list on London Stock Exchange? So let's jump right into the valuation side of things. So because the valuation of the bank is a bit not static or very very sacrosanct, it is very very instructive to actually put things into perspective. The details of the IPO hasn't been released. It's just that the news has now gone out that the bank is looking to actually arrange with investment banks on how to go public. But as at 2021, when this bank actually was quite popular, not that the bank isn't popular either now, but they actually made so much wave during the COVID pandemic, because a whole lot of people actually had a huge surge in staying at home and actually doing so many things from home, and the likes of digital banks like Monzo, Revolut just made it easier for people. So as at that time, the valuation was roughly about 4.5 billion dollars. $4.5 billion. They were more or less the third most valuable bank, digital bank, behind the likes of Revolut and N26. N26 no longer operates in the UK, but they are still all in Europe. But historical valuation wise, in 2019, Monzo was valued at about £2 billion, and in 2020 the bank was valued at about £1.24 billion. So you could actually see an acceleration or growth in the valuation of the bank. But a whole lot of things are still going to change if Monzo actually delays the IPO towards the middle or end of next year. That is still going to actually affect the actual valuation. Is still going to actually affect how far this bank can actually stretch its valuation, because investors will actually wait to see if a bank that is still struggling to cope in terms of raising funds, and they are already valued at about $4.5 billion. Could that be that there might be further dilution, whereby the bank will actually sell bonds or actually issue notes, or issue more shares to actually raise more funds even after the IPO? All of this actually happen, and investors really 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 need to pay attention, because a whole lot of the startups, especially in the technology side of things, they struggle to actually have that cash flow to grow the business or even meet other debt obligation that they might actually have. So if the valuation is too high before the bank goes public, or when the bank is going public or the company goes public, you as an investor, if you invest during the IPO phase, you could actually lose a huge chunk of your investment or huge chunk of your capital, and you might actually have to wait for you to actually get any serious return on your investment. So that's something to actually look at, the valuation side of things. The other part that is also not major concern, but is something to actually watch out for, is that this bank really really needs to be a bit more aggressive in broadening out its source of revenue. So the interchange fees, which is very 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 the mainstay of digital banks and fintechs, is not going to actually take this bank to the next level, they need to actually grow the business side of things, lending side of things. When will Monzo actually launch its mortgage product, which is quite a big deal in the UK. Mortgages is a major chunk of revenue for the likes of Barclays, Lloyds, NatWest, and any other major lenders or traditional banks in the UK. So they need to actually grow beyond the interchange fees and a few interest income on credit cards and all that. The business side of things is not doing badly. Monzo has well over 900,000 business customers, small businesses, SMEs who actually use these banks to actually start their journey in becoming a business to operate formally. So that is a promising side, the business side. But mortgages, also even investments. Monzo has partnered with the likes of BlackRock, and they have managed portfolios and investment funds that investors or customers can actually buy into by just dollar cost average or pounds cost averaging. But it's still not going to be enough if the likes of Robinhood, which operates in the US, becoming a bigger giant, not just in stock trading, but banking, credit cards, every other thing that the new generation bank will offer. So it's Monzo also looking at that bigger picture, like the likes of Robinhood. Very, very bullish company, which as Stocker Team is part of the stock that we actually picked for the year to actually perform. So these are the questions that is left to be answered. If this IPO comes on board, we are still going to do a second review of the IPO. What should you actually look out for? What should you actually be doing? Should you wait for this stock to actually list properly, see the pullback and the pull forward, see all the dilutions that might actually happen before you buy? We will still wait, and that's why this particular episode is the first part of the Monzo IPO. We'll actually bring you more details about this IPO as soon as we get more information. But at this moment, Monzo is a bank to actually look out for. If Monzo is coming to the market to actually, compete, to actually list and become a public company, it shows the bank is more confident in what they are doing, because when you come to the public market, there's more scrutiny, there's more questions that needs to be answered, there's more aspects. You actually have to operate at a higher pedestal, at a higher standard. So a whole lot of the flip-flopping, a whole lot of the mistakes that startups and private companies actually make, and they don't get punished for it. It doesn't happen like that once you list in the market as a public company. So these are the questions that is actually left to be answered, and whether Monzo can actually step up to the challenge. So I will close on that note. And so the question anyone will ask is this IPO tentatively a buy or sell, or staying on the sideline? I will say this IPO is something to actually get involved in. When the details actually emerge, the full-fledged filing for the IPO, when that is shared with the London Stock Exchange or the the Financial Conduct Authority for Monzo to go public, we will do that second part. But tentatively, it's a yes, but it is still with a question mark. We need to actually see a whole lot of other information that Monzo doesn't actually report in its usual report that they share year on year. So as of that, we need to actually see more figures. But it's a tentatively yes, but it's depending on so many other things that we actually need to see. What is the vision of this business? Is this just going to be another digital bank that is competing with the likes of Revolut, Wise, and the rest, or there is a grand plan to take this to the next level, to compete head to head with the likes of Robinhood? Very, very bullish, very, very ambitious bank, and also a financial a fintech giant that is now also taking the UK very, very seriously. So till then, We will bring you more updates on that. If you like everything you've been watching, please subscribe to our channel, give this video a like, put on the notification bell. I'll see you in the next one. Keep investing and keep growing. Take care. Bye bye.